Hi, this is Ross Payton with Role Playing Public Radio, a proud and new member of the Goblin Broadcast Network.
Way to kick it down a notch there, Ross.
And this is episode 7, Adult Themes and Situations.
Oh, lucky 7, so this one's bound to be a success because of that number alone.
Yeah, I mean, we're just right after the holidays, and I know everyone, when you think about holidays, you start thinking about adult themes and situations.
And podcasts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here we are. Of course, we got a little, just done with the holidays. Had a good holiday season.
I had a profitable holiday season, I'll say.
Oh, really?
That.
How'd you make out?
Well, about $1,200 in cash.
Wow.
Yeah, $400 in Best Buy gift certificates and $100 in Barnes & Noble gift certificates.
Got a nice loaded family there, Tom.
Hey, don't hate me because I'm rich.
All right. And I got sweaters. I got sweaters and
Wow, that sucks.
whatever. It's all good. Because we had a good session. We've had some good gaming over the holidays. We had
F and A, man.
Yeah, we had Delta Green Eyes Only at Night on Owl's Head Mountain, which of course you can listen to on our podcast. Those last episode or last entry on our RSS.
Yeah, I noticed we've had no comments yet, so I'm gonna take that out to you're still recovering from New Year's, but the drinks have faded now. It's time to comment, right?
Well, to be fair, we did have one listener comment on the MySpace blog. Did you know that the MySpace has a blog?
I did know that, Ross.
It's the MySpace. It's not MySpace. It's the MySpace.
Stop being an ass. Seriously, no one likes you, Ross.
All right. So anyways, and I'm starting up a new campaign, GURPS. We're doing a Majestic 12 themed kind of take on Delta Green modern horror, except this time the players are working for Majestic 12 and they're fighting, Cthulhu mythos infested terrorists and terrorist organizations.
That's right, terrorists and magic.
Yep. Damn dirty terrorists with their hypergeometric formula.
Damn, we gonna take them down.
Non-Euclidean geometry, I hate them.
America will not back down from terror.
Yep. Anyways, also, I got some writing done this weekend, or this holiday season. Monsters and Other Childish Things, a RPG we've promoted. I've talked about it on the podcast before. I've written one of the first campaign settings for it, and it's going to be published by Arc Dreams Publishing, I think to coincide with the print release of 2nd edition. Monsters and Other Childish Things. It's going to be called, right now the working title is A Curriculum of Conspiracy. It's about a conspiracy of evil wizards in a middle school posing as teachers to steal monsters away from their kids. And
all right, Ross. Big famous now.
I know, my whole PDF publication, my stars.
You're going to get girls in truckloads.
Oh, yes, yeah, that PDF RPG publishing, man, that just...
Really skanky girls, but
yeah.
But you have to take what you can get.
Also, an article I wrote for Knights at the Dinner Table back in like August of last year. It just got published in issue 134. So go pick that up. And I wrote an article, Game Master's Workshop: How to Break in the New Guy, how to incorporate a new player into your campaign, which we've had to do many times. And so
I'm hoping we're past the point now where Ross is blatantly self-promoting himself, so...
Well, I don't get any money from Knights at the Dinner Table. I just want people to know how awesome I am because I get, stuff published. Unlike, some other people who might be, I don't know, on this podcast, talking, not publishing. How you doing, Tyler? How you doing there, Tom?
I give you nothing but love. Why do you constantly belittle me?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Tom. The voices of the unpublished are so tiny and hard to hear. How you doing?
You need me, Ross. You need me.
Yeah, I guess so. In a totally platonic way.
Okay, I wasn't even thinking about that.
Well,
you brought that shit.
Hey, we're doing adult themes and situations, Toms, and I went there. I went for the gold.
My God.
Anyways, let's see here. What else? And again, as we mentioned, we're a part of the Goblin Broadcast Network, which is you get all your awesome RPG podcasts, and they're pretty cool.
And as Ross had to tell me, it's goblin, not goblins. It's singular.
Well, you got to be correct, you know? I mean, by the way, I'm writing for Broken Frontier, not Broken Frontiers. This is a big comic books, website talking about web comics and stuff. And, or they talk about all kinds of comics. I'm writing about web comics. So.
Good for you.
Yeah. I'm just blown up. Anyways.
Yeah, you're still living in this crappy apartment.
It's a nice apartment, Tom. It's a townhouse. It's 2 stories.
2 stories of crap.
All right,
and once again, we're now like this is our example of when maturity goes away.
Yes, as in most games. So that's a really good segue there, Tom. We're going to be talking.
I'm a writer.
Yeah, really,
an unpublished writer. I'm a low-level writer, Ross.
Yes, you noob. Anyways, so maturity, adult themes and situations. They do have a place in games. I'm not going to be saying like a total prude and say, "Oh my God, how dare you?" Or
well, trust me, like we don't sit around in smoking jackets and tweed sweaters, pipes,
and talk about the Harvard Review of Books.
No, that's lame.
Yes.
We instead dress in.
Oh, have you seen the new Schopenhauer analysis?
Oh, I thought it was quite wordy. Yes,
material dialectics.
And it's like
dialectics.
Oh.
Yes, words. Anyways,
L. Ron Hubbard went to the cupboard to fetch his old dog a bone.
So, and on the other hand, I'm not going to be saying, oh my God, your game doesn't cover all the adult situations. It's not very mature with all kinds of stuff. You're just unworthy. You're playing wrong.
We assume all of you collectively know all of the adult themes. We're not going to cover them all.
Right. Well, I mean, the main things, usually when people say adult themes, they mean, sex and relationships. And, it's
to a lesser extent.
I mean, those are the big ones.
To a lesser extent, violence, but that's, I think every single game out there has loads of that.
Yeah, even Polaris, the Icebreaker, which is about, relationships, that's really about violence. It's all metaphor, I'm telling you.
It's a metaphor.
Yeah, metaphor. What's a metaphor?
It's like a metaphor, only different.
Yeah, for hillbillies.
Yeah. And the president.
Nice singer there, Tom.
You bet.
So,
but yeah, primarily we're talking about sex and relationships here.
Yeah, and the main thing is they really can enhance the games. I mean, I've played in games where they've been in a long-running mage campaign that, the relationships really enhanced it. A lot of plot lines came out of it, and it really made the game more real.
But its success requires maturity on the part of the players and GM.
And it's not just that, because, as a GM, I haven't really run many games where these issues have come up, and it's because most of my campaigns tend to be pretty short. I mean, 2 months.
It's why relationships work in movies. They last 2 hours long.
Yeah. I mean, the longest campaign I've run, actually, the single longest campaign has been 7 months, and that was the Masks and Nyarlathotep, and that was running a very specific campaign.
And, of course, relationships really didn't. I think the only relationship that really came into play was ours with the original dead guy in New York.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just in order to really have those sort of themes really pay off in a game, you really have to build your player characters, and not just add experience points or whatever to them, but build their history, their relationships with the other PCs, fleshing them out. If that makes sense.
Obviously.
And you can't do that overnight.
And of course, in some games, just don't allow you to do it at all.
Yeah.
It's really hard to build backstory to a Call of Cthulhu character.
Oh, you can. It's just not recommended.
Or advisable or time
Honestly,
efficient.
though, actually, in most games, it's really not recommended. I mean, I don't know about you, but the guys who write 20-page backstories for their characters, I mean, the whole point of gaming is to game with other people. If you're writing a backstory for your character that's long, nobody's going to read that. Nobody's going to pay attention to it.
And of course, if you write the backstory, you also have to watch out for the people that have Indiana Jones as a father, right?
Witchblade.
Oh yeah, come on, yes. That's awesome.
Yes. You need to watch The Bad Player, which is our previous episode. In case
watch it.
Yes. Listen to it. Anyways, the thing is, it takes time to build up a character, to make him really interesting, make him really well developed in terms of personality, history, and whatever. I mean, I'm of the school that believes that your character's real story, the most important part of your player character, your PC, doesn't begin until the game actually starts. I don't care what your backstory is or how cool it is or whatever. It doesn't matter until you actually get them involved in the game. Until he actually is playing with other. I think that's more real than whatever you write by yourself, because it's a collaborative medium. I mean, it's a collaborative, format, whatever you want to call it. You're playing with other people, a game master and several other players, and that's what counts.
Yeah, actually, I have a game I'm running based on gargoyles, and we've been playing that for a better part of 2.5 years now, and the players in that are very attached to their characters and are very well fleshed out.
See, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. It takes time. You can't, when you start a character, no matter how much backstory or whatever you do for your character, it's just, stats on a page until you have those memories of those adventures that you've had where you really rolled well, you defeated the bad guy, you critically failed and yet survived, or whatever else. That's what counts. So, I mean, that's the whole point of gaming, I think. Well, not the whole point, but that's the thing.
We're still talking about relationships. You still have to have some maturity for that.
Yeah, definitely. You need a sort of baseline. You're only as mature as your least mature player.
Which, ask anyone who's been in a group. There's that one.
There's always that guy.
That guy.
Which is me if I'm playing, usually.
Well, yeah.
Like, in the World War II game I'm playing right now, I'm the jackass who's screaming at the Nazis that we're fighting, cursing their name, and obsessing about panzers because they break glass vials.
Or that one D20 Modern you were in where all the other players were deep in discussion trying to learn about this ancient mystery, and you were playing a kobold rollerblading across the bar table, just shooting guns in the air.
Honestly, I don't remember me. I wasn't intentionally being a jackass. It just came to me. So
it comes naturally to you.
Yeah, thanks, son.
You bet.
So the thing is that, and especially, and God help you if the least mature person at the table is the game master.
Oh dear God.
Yeah, I mean, you were telling me a little earlier about one game you were playing in where that happened, and yeah, that really sucks. The Hannibal Lecter.
Oh yeah, it was back in my Dark Palladium days. We were playing ninjas and super spies, and we were playing like most. We were all playing super sleuth type characters, super detectives, and we had just gotten done from a really good part of the campaign. We were going after this master bank robber thief who would breaks into banks at night, breaks security systems. We had to set up an elaborate trap for him, and that was just cool. But then he sends us from that to tracking a serial killer / serial rapist.
All right.
And going into grisly details. And so sometimes he would kill someone in the place and then rape somebody else. And then the GM sent us to interview the women who have been raped. And none of us, I mean, first of all, it was even worse, he dropped this completely by surprise on us. And I think if you're going to bring in rape, murder's okay, but especially rape.
Yeah, rape. Yeah, that's
and talking to the victims of it. You need to let them know ahead of time.
Yeah,
you can't. Yeah, you can't go from Ocean's 11 to
Silence of the Lambs.
Exactly,
and not just Silence of the Lambs, more like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. Really, or Cannibal Holocaust. I mean, you really don't want to make you don't want to shift genre that much. That's just a violation.
But the thing is, though, we were all teenagers. I think I was 14 at the time.
Wow.
So we were all really deep into middle school sexual jokes and innuendo kind of stuff. And believe me, nothing will kill interviewing a rape victim from the GM trying to roleplay a rape victim using only the sexual slang of a 13 to 14-year-old.
Wow. All of you were like 13, 14? Yeah.
Yes, all. Well, one player was 15.
See, that's what people, when people say I'm good, this is going to be an adult mature, that usually is, like I'm going to be like the Sin City, ultra violent, super sex, that kind of crap.
Which that's gaming.
Yeah,
I don't want to break your heart.
Maturity doesn't really necessarily mean Frank Miller. In fact, it shouldn't.
In fact, for all those game masters who think it is, I'm sorry that you're not being mature.
Yeah, I could see how that game would die. That really must have sucked.
It did.
Yeah. So that's the thing. You really. While it can really enhance a game, I mean, again, the mage campaign I played in, like, there's one character who had a soulmate, and there's this whole quest about him trying to get her back from the syndicate, the technocracy,
Right.
And there's another character who had a relationship with a NPC, and it really helped make the game more alive. And it's you just got to make sure that you're not going to have the the Beavis and Butthead guys.
Basically, giggling incessantly every time someone says "pee."
Yeah. If you're not having fun, if you're like, oh, and then the killer, you did this horrible, unspeakable thing, blah 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 blah, and you're not having fun. You're just like, ugh, that's gross.
Also, mature violence is hard to do because it's really hard to keep a straight face when you're discussing like a graphic crime scene. And not solely just have this devolve into, and then there's fucking blood all over the wall and shit, and it's like fucking gore, like blew her fucking boobs off.
Yeah,
that kind of. That's what's going to devolve to.
I mean, and to be honest, I brought up not just I guess sort of mature topics, like in the transhuman space game I ran recently. I brought up like the players had to infiltrate the space station where all these rich, really evil, perverted, eccentric people were paying to for the privilege of hunting down children and killing them. In
a VR simulator, yeah. But if you kill them in the VR simulator, then they would be instantly killed where they were hooked up in real life.
Yeah, and I gotten this idea from a manga, and I really didn't dwell on it. I just made it sort of like a fairy tale, sort of like this sort of unreal kind of thing, but it was still very evil.
And it worked. It worked. It got us. It gave a sense of urgency that we need to fix this right now.
Yeah. So again, and that really helps the suspension of disbelief. That really helps get the players involved in the game. I think the thing is you need to have a very light touch. You need to know what the level of your players are in terms of maturity, and then just less is more.
Yeah, don't wield that shit with a heavy hand.
Oh God, yeah, that will kill a game. Remember, this is an escapist hobby.
And often the mature things are the stuff you're trying to escape from. Usually, relationships and things and shit like that. But by the way, Ross.
Yeah.
I know we're talking about adult themes in games, so someone has to bring it up, so I guess I will.
Okay.
Have you looked through the book of erotic fantasy? I have to ask. I do.
Yeah, I got a PDF of it. Chris sent it to me, or he burned it onto his.
That sounds like Chris.
Yeah, and pretty interesting.
Interesting isn't exactly the word I would use.
Honestly, I thought it could have been worse. I thought it could have been a lot worse.
What's that game you mentioned that you actually have a table for your nipple hue?
That's Fatal. That's an acronym. I forgot what it's like. Fantasy, adventures, lechery, and something like that. I can't even remember what it is.
D&D TNA.
Yeah. You can't, the website's down. It's like, if you go to rpg.net, there's a whole... Just look on there. There's a whole everyone. That's like the game that shall not be named. I mean, it's so. I've looked through a PDF of that as well, and it's pretty fucked up.
Nipple hue.
Anal circumference. Seriously, that's a stat. That's a stat that
penis
you
shape.
I remember that. Just anal circumference. Yeah, that. Yeah, that's really important to know in a game. Anyways,
it's always one of the first.
Again, so I think that the cue is find out what the comfort level of your players are, and again, less is more. Just even a touch of it can really enhance the game. Like I just hinted at child abuse. Well, I mean, I didn't really get into the reality of it.
We didn't see any kids get abused or killed.
Yeah, but I mean, they knew it was evil, and I didn't dwell on it. I didn't say, "Oh, this innocent child is suffering and suffering,"
and looks up at you with little child eyes, saying, "Please help me! I don't want to die."
I didn't make anyone uncomfortable. They knew it was there, and that was enough. They were really motivated to get these guys.
Yeah, or doing that childlike voice for yours. I want my mommy.
Yeah,
kind of like, oh, jeez.
Yeah, and what else? Yeah, less is more, and you don't need to have it in there. But one last thing though, I think sometimes maturity, adult themes and situation can really enhance a game. if you don't look at the obvious stuff, not the scintillating stuff, sex and relationships. Like one show that I'm watching right now is The Wire on HBO. I've just been going, yeah, Tom knows. I've just been like, oh my god, it's so good. You need to watch it. And The Wire is a very realistic show. It looks at the inner city crime and the corrupt politics of Baltimore and just the institutional. And this is the boring stuff, but it's adult, it's mature because it's talking about how, the police are just obsessed with getting their stats up to investigate crime, that they'll manipulate, they'll do whatever they can to keep their stats up so they can get promotions, and the drug dealers are all doing all this other stuff. Those are really good topics. That's really good material for a game. And that's adult, that's mature, that's not, that's realism. And I'm going to put that in my Majestic 12 game, that sort of institutional politics. These people who have petty squabbles and they're abusing
personal agendas.
Exactly. And so look at, real stuff. Look at mature, look at documentaries, look at reality, and just pull stuff from that and put it in your game. So that's another sort of adult topic situation that really enhances the game.
Corporate fraud kind of shit.
Yeah, and that's something anyone can get.
Yeah.
I mean...
and most of the people have experienced that, too.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can watch The Wire and be like, that's my boss. Even he's not a police, commissioner.
The store manager at the Walmart I work at.
Who just dicks around people, is manipulative.
But the one with the district manager shows up. He is kiss ass McSucky.
Yeah, the politics alone, and that's not all. I mean, there's all kinds of mature sort of. You could take the plot of any you could take War and Peace and turn it into a great D&D campaign. I bet.
Yeah,
and take out the stuff about.
And
Russian
I know it's a little melodramatic, but soap operas too.
Well, that's not really mature or adult.
Well, it's not. It's
pretty comic booky, but
yeah,
good dramas though.
Well, I mean, it's good research material, I guess. Maybe what not to do.
Yeah, that's true. But if you look at good dramas, and there's God knows how many.
Like especially on TNT.
Yeah, like if
TNT
you look at the
knows
new movie
drama.
Charlie Wilson's War. I mean, that's about this one kind of sleazeball guy's like, hey, let's go kick some commie ass, and you
actually pretty much helped end the Cold War.
Exactly, and you could do a really great campaign based on that idea in any genre, in fantasy, in modern, in sci-fi. And if you can't do it, I can just send us a comment. I'll make it in. You give me the genre, I'll do it. I'll convert it. That's a promise.
Okay, Ross has a personal challenge here, people. There's no prize or anything, except if you can think of something he can't make dramatic or like that, you'll have done something.
I'll try and make it like Charlie Wilson's War, but with Wookiee.
If Ross can't do it, you would not believe how much a blow that to his ego that would be.
Yes, I'm a published writer.
Oh my God! If you get Ross to cry,
take this win back down.
That would be your reward.
Oh my God! Anyways,
and if you make him cry, we will take a picture of it and put it up on the website.
Thanks, Tom.
Well, I just wanted to make it a little more interesting, Ross.
All right, fair enough. All right, we'll be back in a little bit with a letter from Tom, shout-outs, and gaming anecdotes.
Stay tuned. Dear Eliphids, first off, let me just say that you are among my favorite of the evil monsters from D&D. I have loved facing off against you since the dark days of my first games back in the mid to late 1980s. I've always had a soft spot for good monsters, and your tentacled brain-eating brethren have never disappointed. In fact, I have to say that the only possible competition to your place as my favorite evil monsters of all time are the Yuan-Ti and the Beta Zoo, especially Pit Fiends. Pit Fiends. But fear not, you are still number one. Of course, anyone who's ever encountered you knows what a royal pain in the forehead you can be. I have lost many a character to your infamous Mind Blast and Brain Extraction combo. Though I mourned the loss of a character every time your slimy tentacles burrowed into my skull and sucked out the brain like the pimento of a bloody olive, I also smiled as I knew I met my end by a truly evil creature worthy of my hate. I've been felled by lesser monsters, to be sure, like the time I was rent to pieces by a doped-up Garrulon. But I never got the same feeling of disgust and hate that I got from you. So fuck those furry four-armed douchebags. Fuck them and their stupid primate ass. Now, I would never deign to try to tell you how to do your jobs. You pull off the role of evil aberration from the Underdark with a level of art that can only be described as virtuoso, but I believe there's always room for improvement. Indeed, the moment you get complacent in your level of evil, that's when some up-and-coming aberration like the Nyogi try to one-up you. So to avoid that terrible fate, let me offer some advice to keep your evil edge. I know that will be hard, as you already enslave lesser races, which are any other race but you, and make thralls out of them or herd them like brain cattle. That is truly inspiring, but I think you can do more. My suggestion would be this. Instead of enslaving all races to serve as labor and food, engage in unfair business practices with your neighbors. That's right, a little good old-fashioned corporate callousness and ruthlessness. Instead of using your thralls to do the menial tasks that are so very beneath you, why not outsource them as cheap, unquestioning labor to other villains and warlords? After all, it's a little hard to complain about low pay and poor working conditions when you have no free will. Another thing you can do is hire your own PR and spin team. Use these masters of bullshit to make your images sparkling clean to those in power. After all, what powerful ruler will finance raids into the Underdark when you are on such good terms with them? In fact, hire out some of your cheap labor thralls to them. Trust me, you can't imagine a better evil PR advertisement than one with you sitting on a comfy chair next to the warlord of some evil empire, sipping drinks and watching hordes of mindless thralls doing the work that guilds used to do, only for 100% less pay. You've already got the fear part of the equation down, that's for sure. If you truly want to be evil legends, not only do the people need to whisper dark tales about you to scare children, they must also come home and bitch and grumble about you the same way they would about upper management from Walmart. Then, and only then, will your evilness be supreme.
That was another letter from Tom.
You never get tired of him, do you, Ross?
No, of course not, because you work cheap. In other words, you work for free.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I do it out of love.
Yes. For the game, right?
Good God. What else? What were you thinking?
Again, adult themes and situations.
All right.
All right, and of course now we have shout-outs. My shout-out for this particular episode is Horribleville, a very weird little webcomic by a young artist named KC Green. It's sort of an autobiographical comic, but it's very weird. Instead of talking about whining about his life and things like that, he tries to punch out planes because he has to outnuts his cat.
His cat Dootsy.
Dootsy, yes. And there's so much other weirdness. I mean, I can't even begin to describe it, except one of my favorite that I remember recently is there's an automatic door. It failed to open for me. What? Does it think I'm not worthy? And then he throws a mailbox through it.
Well, who hasn't done that?
Yeah, stupid glass doors. Won't open for me. I hate them.
Damn it.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's my shout out. How about you, Tom?
I have a couple.
Oh, yeah?
I'd like to give out one to, I do this to books that I buy that I find interesting, and I recently bought the Tyrants of the Nine Hells from D&D.
Aight.
And, the Book of Vile Darkness, I think we were all kind of almost required to buy that one, because it's, horrible, graphic, evil, and...
I didn't have to buy it.
Well, you're not human, Ross, so...
Wouldn't it make me more human to not buy something called the Book of Vile Darkness?
I don't know, Ross. What do you think?
I think it makes me better than you.
Maturity.
Yes.
But no, I really like the demons and devils and hells, and that's that's really good details for stuff that like that. I also like to give it one to my own webcomic, Aliens Love Predator. Trust me,
not your webcomic.
No,
just a webcomic.
Webcomic that I really like.
Yes,
which is about like an alien and a predator living in an apartment in New York. And he uses, it's all photographs with action figures.
That's what I thought, yeah. I read that. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not up to Horribleville standards, but, you plebeians need something to read.
Ooh, plebeians.
Yeah. Big word.
Okay, and what does that make you, Ross?
I am Spartan.
Are you a patrician? Is that it?
Yeah. I'm a super patrician. I'm a mega patrician.
All right. Way to use
I'm a ninja.
Way to use the terms for the social classes in ancient Rome.
Yes. Yeah.
So
that was part of Sparta, right?
That was Greece. Dumbass.
I get my history from the movies.
I can tell. But anyway, no, Aliens Love Predator, it's a great comic. Check it out.
All right. Yeah, and we'll have the links up on the entry, so it's all good. And of course, leave comments for whatever you dislike about our tastes in popular media and the internet.
But positive comments.
Come on, I could take a couple flames. What are you, little girly boy? Little cutie boy? Speaking of girly boys and boys in general, that brings us to our anecdote.
Ah, yes.
Yes, and not in a sexual way at all.
What is it with you and sex, Ross? You have to like clarify that with everything you talk about. This is not in a sexual way.
Yeah, it's so easy.
Well, like, are you gonna go through a drive-through?
Like your mom.
Are you gonna go through a drive-through? Like, I like to order a cheeseburger in a non-sexual way.
Yeah, I like to order a hot dog, put it in a nice hot bun. In a taco. Oh man,
Maturity.
Yeah.
All right.
That's why. Okay, that's the real reason why we don't do adult things in our games. That be making all kinds of horrible jokes.
Because we have some childlike giggling every time anyone mentions pee-pee parts.
Yeah, I think I'm Batman. Cody would.
Oh, good God.
Ernie Hudson.
Hepatitis C.
Yeah. Anyways, our gaming anecdote. A good friend of ours, who was actually one of the players in the Delta Green Eyes Only one shot, Matt Howell,
download it so you can hear his voice.
He was the one who got his hand crushed in the game.
Yes, indeed.
And then wound up getting abducted by the Migu. Oh my God! Spoiler. He, of course, is now a grad student in the University of Kentucky, somewhere in
not
Kentucky.
Here, somewhere not here.
Yeah, he used to be Missouri State undergrad, political science. And he would run games, and Tom and I would go to these games and play in them
every week
because it was something to do and it was fun.
And we have no other life outside that.
I do. Only you don't, Tom.
Oh man.
I know.
Damn.
Yeah. Anyways, one of the games he ran was MechWarrior because he's a big MechWarrior fan.
I got a lot of friends who are.
Yeah, and this is one of the older MechWarriors. I forgot which one. It was one of the '80s ones, I think, or early '90s. I don't know. One of them, not the most recent.
Around the one when the Super Nintendo game came out.
Yeah, that would be in the
early '90s.
Yeah. So we were all guys fighting other guys on a planet. Yeah,
several planets. We went to several planets.
Okay. We had the whole
Razzlehug is what he named. I remember he named it Razzlehug.
That's probably, I think, a real planet name in the MechWarrior.
Who I don't know. I don't read them.
We had a hex map. It was a hex map, right? It wasn't.
It was hex map.
Hex maps.
Except I was flying a fighter plane.
Yeah, and I was.
What
the hell was I? I wasn't a mech. I was a bomber.
No, you were a mech.
I was a mech.
Yeah, you were.
Really?
No, wait, no. Or were you like more like a tank?
I was not a mech. I remember that.
You might have been like an armored tank vehicle or something.
Yeah, something like that. Anyways.
But I was the only aircraft.
Matt's a good, pretty above average GM overall. I mean, he's not flawed. It's just his games aren't very hard. They're pretty easy.
The difficulty level set on easy.
Yeah, with, cheat codes on.
Yeah. And possibly even using trainers.
Yeah. But whatever. We had a great fun because Tom and I would just do stupid shit.
All the time.
Yeah.
By the way, I know I've mentioned this before. Can I just mention it again?
Yeah.
When you don't fly a fighter bomber plane in MechWarrior.
Yeah.
Because you have one attack and then you have to spend 6 turns getting back into firing position.
Yeah.
So for that whole time, like when everyone's doing their I fire my quad lasers. I'm like, I'm flying my plane.
I missed my bombing. I failed one roll, so my bombs missed, so I have to spend 3 rounds turning around.
3 rounds heading back and...
Yeah. Oh, battle's over. Because the MechWarrior just sat there and shot every round.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
So anyways, for some reason, we just chatter at the table while the battle is going on, and we just turn into
I think obviously it was the same thing that happens in a lot of games. When it's not your turn, you tend to get bored, especially when individual turns take a long time.
No joke. So for some reason we just start talking like hillbillies and be like, you little fancy boy.
I remember it came out because that happened when we were going after that one. Enemy leader who had the really expensive, expensive uniform and armor with the expensive katana.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know who said it first.
Yeah.
I think it was either you or me.
Yeah.
But yes, that phrase came out.
You and your little suit and your little katana, you little fancy boy. You think you're so special? Yeah, you little fancy boy.
And yes, Fancy Boy became something we did every minute of every day.
Just all throughout the game, it's like, the enemy mech shoots at you. Oh, look at you, look at
Fancy boy homing
fancy
missiles.
boy with these little particle beam cannons.
Fancy Boy.
Little fancy boy. I go on the radio and deride him as the fancy boy.
And then we actually said, hey, can we make him make like a morale check to see if we pissed him off?
Yeah.
Fancy boy.
Little fancy boy. You have to say it just like that.
You can't say it any other way. It can't be fancy boy or fancy boy.
Or fancy boy.
No. It's fancy boy.
Yeah, that little,
It's almost like one. It's almost one word.
yeah. So, and that was, Matt's games are also good for the blaster rifles, the organ harvesting. It's just, that was the thing for the mech warrior.
But Fancy Boy survived way past that game,
Yeah.
even now.
Yeah.
We can literally, we can be doing anything, and one of us can just blurt out Fancy Boy, and we will have to take a 5-minute break because it's going to devolve into a back and forth Fancy Boy thing.
Fancy boy. Your little computer, your little podcast, your little fancy boy.
Look at you all, like y'all downloading with your DSL Fancy Boy system.
Fancy boy. All right, so yeah, that's our little gaming anecdote, a little part of our gaming history. So
It's from us to you,
yes, so for all of you fancy boys out there,
who are downloading this stuff on your Fancy Boy system and your
fancy boy iPods, yeah. We say adieu for now. For this was episode 7, adult themes and situations for role playing public radio, and we'll see you in 2 weeks or so.
До свидания.
All right.